Hi, I'm Tom Courtney of Courtney Woolen Mill. Mill opened up January 4th of 1880. The main part of the carding machine was put in then. Basically, there were more sheep in the state than there were cows back then, so everything was obviously wool back in the day. Carded bats for mainly quilts, but we also did make yarn back up until the late 1960s. Fun fact is the new part of the machine back there was added on probably 120 years ago, and that's the new part of the machine. So it'll be very interesting how they got the machines in here, 144 years ago. How we get them out will be fun to see. Today will be the last day of the carding machines running after 144 years. So opened up January 4th of 1880, and here we are 2024, the last run. So it's definitely going to be bittersweet, but the very exciting news is the history is going to be preserved at Appleton Historical Society. So very excited about that. It's the last run, but the last run for this building. And they will be operational. That's one big question people were asking also. They will be running at a slower speed for tours and groups to see and preserving history. So I will definitely be there, try to pass more history of the mill along. And it's just not the history, I guess, of the machines here, Courtney Woolen Mill, the history of Appleton. I mean, Appleton opened up with the water power, the cheap water power, and this was the last remaining machine that was run by water power, I'm sure, along the river. 52 years ago. Started down, in high school. Actually, I'd walked down here, had last hour off from Appleton West, so I'd walked down here. Purchased it from my parents back in the mid-1980s, and been here, was 52 years last June 17th. So, but then we did a lot more washing then, and mainly now it's was more polyester bats, at least over the past 6 months. I guess retirement, yeah, I'm 66, I guess it's time. That's one of the main reasons. And just the fact that they had the room up there and preserving history rather than in a scrapyard, I mean, that's just huge, I think. So, and glad with all the volunteers that came together, engineers, to get the machine out of here. I mean, that's going to be just fantastic to see it preserved. Customers, the 3, 4, 5 generations, maybe not 5, but 4 generations of customers that have come in. You can't say enough about them. That's half the main thing keeping me going down here also and visiting with them. That's probably the one thing I'm going to miss the most. But just, thanks for the customers for all the years and the support from the community. And there we go, that's a wrap. It's the last bat made at Courtney Woolen Mill, but I can't pass the torch, but I can pass the key I used to open the mill up for the last 52 years.
Well, thank you very much, Tom. Thank you so much. On behalf of the board of directors, the membership, the people of the community of Appleton, we could not be more excited to find a new home for this 140-year-old machine.
144.
144-year-old machine. It's such a tribute to the Courtney family, the history of textiles in the Fox cities, and also the power of the Fox River in the industrial age of Appleton. We've recreated a beautiful, and I don't know if you've seen it.
I've seen it. I said you guys have beyond nailed it.
It's an exact replica of the mill. It's going to be absolutely incredible. Yeah. So we're very excited about moving this over to our new facility, 231 West Franklin Street.
And preserving the history of the river and the mill and everything. Very excited that we can preserve it.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you.
Retirement.
I can join you.
I guess what was it like, watching the belts and everything kind of turn for one last time here inside the mill?
Very bittersweet. I mean, being down here for 52 years, just watching the machine still running without much maintenance after as long as I've been here. But I guess one of the big things I was thinking when it was last run was it's being preserved. That's just huge to me. And where it's going is almost an exact replica of the mill itself. So excited about that.
This mill's been here for a long time. Just talk about its history, the importance of it to the community, and your decision to retire.
Well, I guess first of all, retiring, I guess it's time for me. I'm 66. It's time to slow down a little bit. I mean, the history of the mill is just like everything along the river here. Everything was powered by the river. That's how Appleton started back in probably the mid 1860s even. But the water power mill opened up January 4th of 1880 as Northside Woolen Mill. Kelly Brothers Spearings and Olson's ran it until my great-grandfather bought it, who worked directly across the river at Appleton Woolen Mill. But just preserving the history here, and as long as it's run and virtually almost maintenance-free is a set of times. As I always said when I have tours, these things here break in 5 years. That's been running 144.
Is this a tough day for you?
Yes and no. I mean, I guess the main thing that I do like is that it's being preserved. So,
Tom, you've worked fourth generation. This is basically a second home. What are some of the things that you're going to miss the most about this mill?
just coming in here, just the view. I mean, how can you replicate the view? And the main thing I'm going to miss the most is the customers. I mean, talking to them, at 52 years, it didn't even seem like coming to work.
How have they reacted?
Very bittersweet, and a lot of them said, I can't believe this day was ever going to happen, but they're excited for my retirement.
And what do you make here? I can see
Batting for the inside of quilts.
padding for the inside.
Right.
And this was, you had customers all over the country or where?
Mainly a 100-mile radius, you can say, but I do ship, but even that order behind it, I guess it's in the other room there, it's coming from Eau Claire, but majority of the customers, 100-mile radius. But even you think back to when the mill opened in 1880, how did they get here?
And all this equipment is from when it first.
This was 1880, and I always refer to the new part, was put in 100 years ago, the feed part here. So that's only 100 years old. So
What's next for this building? I know you said the equipment's going to go to the Historical Society, but what's next for the building itself?
that'll come out shortly. I can't say a lot right now.
So
So
it is up for sale?
it
but
is sold, yes.
It is,
Yes.
oh, it already has been sold?
It
You
has,
can't
yep.
say what the plans are?
No,
Yet. for
yet.
this
That'll come
particular
out
product.
shortly. So
And then how do you plan to when's the equipment going to disappear and move? That's a question for the Historical Society.
Well, the Appleton Historical Society's current location is at 128 North Durkee Street. We've outgrown that location, and on May 1st, we were able to purchase a new facility, which is about 5 times larger than the current. Without that opportunity, this would never be happening. And through the brainchild of Mark Middlestad here, he said, we need to replicate the Courtney Woolen Mill. So we've done that with the new facility, and we hope to be moving in there probably early fall.
Process of moving that equipment too, is that going to be an easy, a tough job? Like, what do you anticipate?
Well, fortunately, we've assembled a great team of people, electrical contractors, engineers. They've got a plan in place. They're going to disassemble the equipment starting next week, and it will be reassembled at the new museum at 231 West Franklin Street.
Can you just talk about, the importance of why, why have this stuff on display from the woolen mill at the new location?
Well, part of it is the history of the woolen mill itself, the 4 generations of family, the story that tells. The textile industry in the Fox Cities is a great story to tell. And then again, the industrial age of the Fox River itself, the water power. All these coming together make a great story for Appleton and a great story for the new Appleton History Museum.
What do you hope the visitors get out of seeing this on display in months to come?
Well, a little nostalgia. I mean, there's obviously, Tom talked about, the customers, the multiple generations coming through, and grandma made a quilt for grandson and so forth. I think that when people see that and understand how these things come together, it's going to be a great story to tell.
Now, is this going to be like you may try and operate the machine itself there to show how all this worked? Or?
It will be a functioning machine. It won't be running at full speed, but it will be a functioning machine. It'll be on display, and people will actually see the process on how the bats are made.
Do you know when that'll all be, this will all be put in there, or is that still being worked out of when exactly this will be there?
Starting next week, the the machine will be unassembled, reassembled on the new site. We hope by early fall that it'll be on display for people to come through the new museum.